other pieces of paper that go into this system that also make up the system, and you can either use them or you can use another system you have. So let's look at all 5 pieces of paper and analyze why they'd be important to you. In addition to our financial sheet, which we call the cash flow system, or lately I call it the money tracker, I have my quarterly calendar. So to pull your quarterly calendar out of there, fold it in half like we did before, and fold it in thirds like you did with the cash flow system, so that in a minute you've got yourself organized with your time. Okay, got this? Now I want you to look how this works. On this one little piece of paper, we have 90 days or 3 months worth of dates for us to plan for. Now you'll notice that they're blank in here. So let's figure out what this month would look like. The month of September, we find ourselves on the 11th of the month, and this happens to be a Monday. So over on the second week where it says Monday there, I'd like you to write 11, 12, 13, and go through the rest of the month until you filled it out, okay? Second one down is 11. Is that right? Or it'd be the third one down. No, it'd be the second one down. That's right. What was the first day of September? What day was it? It was a Friday. Yeah. Okay, 11 would be the second one down. 11, and just fill in the blanks there. What I've done in my first month is I've filled in my blanks here and written them in. I kept this system going for a couple of years. This is the backside for my months of October and November, if this is the way you're filling it out. In other words, I want every one of you to get in the habit of planning out your days 90 days in advance. How many days in advance is the average person planned in the North American continent? A day to Friday, but most of the time it's very less than a week. And usually it's like a day at a time. They just get up in the morning, they say, what do I got to do today? They get in the car, they rush to work, they grab their Starbucks, and they just move on through the rest of their life. It's just the way it works. What is the average American corporation planned out for? 5 years. The average Japanese corporation's planned out for 150 years. And you ask the question, what is going to happen in 150 years? How do they know what's going to happen in 150 years? They plan for it to happen. The future is not something that happens. It's something that you make happen by the way in which you organize your life. And so what's going to happen by the year 2000? See, for many of you, you're just going to wake up in the morning of the year 2000 and say, well, this is what I get. And some of you are going to specifically plan for that to happen. So this is the way for you to begin that process. When you got up this morning, it's the 11th of September, you should have been planning the 11th of December this morning. You got up this morning, you had 15 minutes for what I call hour of power. Doesn't have to be an hour of power. It's just going to be, your power hour could be just 15 minutes. But if you'll do that 15 minutes every day and you plan out the 11th of December, your future will be cheaper than if you'll do it, wake up the morning of the 11th of December. Why? Why would it be cheaper? It would be cheaper. It would be less expensive. Why? If I plan 11th of December today, instead of waiting until then, why will it be cheaper?
You won't 3 months of inflation.
Well, 3 months worth of inflation, that's an interesting thought. I hadn't thought about that. Yes.
Book your flight now.
I get to book my flight reservations now, and I get the cheapest possible way for my life to happen. What else could happen as I'm planning for the next 90 days to make that day cheaper? Over here, ma'am? My Christmas shopping could start today. You bet. I've been walking through looking for bargain basement kinds of things. Oh, that'd be good for a Christmas present for her. You throw it in the bag and you let it sit there for 3 months. Yes?
Taxes, courses, anything that you do to think.
Anything can be cheaper if you buy it in advance. Yes, over here, Larry.
You won't have to fix the things that broke on the 10th because you didn't plan for them.
There you go. Yeah, that's right. I can get maintenance done. I can get my cars serviced the way they're supposed to be serviced waiting until they break down. Because if they break down, it costs me 2, 3, 4 times as much money in advance. The further out you plan, the richer you are. You should say that aloud with me right now. The further out you plan, the richer you are. Now, it was J. Paul Getty who had a famous statement. He says, they asked him, what was the secret to your wealth? And he said, I buy my straw hats in the fall. I don't wait till the springtime when everybody wants straw hats and the sun is beating down. I wait till it's dark and cold and nobody wants those straw hats. And then I buy them all. And then when I get to the springtime, I've just kind of warehoused them for a period of time. I sell them all at full retail and I make a fortune. You should all be buying your straw hats in the fall. That means buying your things early before they are really expensive. What's the best time to buy Christmas ornaments during the year? December 26th and beyond, right? But most of us wait until December the 1st. And then we rush out. The most expensive time of all is when we buy our Christmas trees. You know, the most expensive Christmas tree we can get. And then we buy the lights. We all wait until the last moment. Now, you might say this is not that big a deal. It's a difference between 50% off of your life. And if you're now, barely making it at $3,000 a month, this is another $1,000 that would go into your pocket. What could you do with that $1,000?
Invest it.
That's where you invest it. That $1,000 is what makes your future wealthy. And so this planning is absolutely critical. It's one of the main skills of saving. I have to save my time and save my money. So I now have my way in which I can control my months. Whenever you write down an appointment, you write it here in your quarterly calendar. Stick your quarterly calendar inside your little pouch. And therefore I've got my money and my time figured out, but I do need my daily figured out. So let's go into our power planners and let's pull out the weekly goal right here. And as soon as you see one like this, fold it in the middle and into thirds. And since this is Monday, make sure Monday is facing outwards. Okay. Now, stick Monday into the flaps that are the top and the bottom. They're on the outside. You'll stick the bottom into the tiny little flap on the bottom. You'll stick the top into the tiny little flap on the top. And therefore, it faces outward and is ready to be written on. You see that? If you need some help, you can turn to your neighbor and your neighbor will show you how to do it. Okay? Okay, as soon as you got it all out there, look up this way. So now I have my daily thing that's all ready to be written on. If I was going to carry this with me and I needed to do something, I thought of something to do. Got to put it on my to-do list. I pull it out here and it's ready to be written on. I would just write it right there. Well, where would I write it? There's a line, and above the line there's a little 20 in that little triangle. See that? And then below the line there's 80. What does that mean? Okay, everything that's important you want to write above that line. Everything that's not important you're going to put it below that line. So let me teach you the secret to all success when it comes to time management. This is it. You must learn how to procrastinate. And I'm really serious about this. The best and most successful person on the planet is the best procrastinator. Because they have just as much stuff to do as you do, if not more. They've got hundreds of things they need to do that day. When they got up that morning to look at their list, how did they procrastinate? Well, there's an old rule that says 20% of the things you do give you 80% of your results. You ever heard that? And 80% of the things you do give you 20% of your results. In other words, there are few critical things that you do will give you huge returns on your money. And a few lots of things you do will give you almost nothing on your money. Let's pretend that you're investing your money into a couple of stocks. Let's put it this way. Let me analyze it here for you. Suppose I could put my money into two different stocks. It would be stock A and stock B. And you have $100 to put into your stocks that month. That $100 you saved by getting your airline ticket right. Let's see, I could put some money in A and B. I decide I'm going to put $20 in A. Now I'm going to put $80 in B. Does everybody understand that now? So I got $20 worth of company A and $80 worth of company B. Now I watched this for a whole year. And then at the end of the year, I look at my returns and I found out that that $20 grew into $80 in profit. And that this $80, although it did make a profit, only grew into $20 in profit. Are we following this so far? This one grew into $80, and that, lots of money, only grew into 20. Now I get to decide next year, based upon similar assumptions, where to put my money. Where shall I probably put my money? Yeah, why? Because for every dollar I put into A, how many dollars came back? $4. I put $1 into A, I get $4 back. That's a pretty good deal. Now, for every dollar I put into B, how much money did I get back? Yeah, and this is, you thought you were out of math, didn't you? 2 trains traveling in the same direction towards Los Angeles. Okay, 25 cents, all right? So I put $1 into B and I get 25 cents back. I put $1 into A and I get $4 back. How many times more powerful is A than B? If I divide 25 into 4, or 20, it's 16 times. In other words, I make 400% of my money over here, and I make 25% of my money here. 16 times more powerful. Okay, that means if I were to put my money into A, I'd be 16 times, that's 1,600% better than if I put it into B. Now that's what happens when you do it with your time. If you invest your time into what we call a 20% activity, or one of those high payoff activities, if you invest it in a high payoff activity, you're 16 times further down the road than if you waste it on something that's just on your to-do list, just on one of those low payoff activities. 16 times. Now Brian Tracy actually reports a study where they did this with the insurance salespeople, and they found out that the top 20% of the salespeople earned 16 times more money than the average of the people in the bottom 80%. 16 times more money. If the guy in the bottom was making $5,000 a year, the guy at the top was making $80,000 a year. Okay? And so they said, well, I wonder how far this carries out. And so they took the top 20% and they took the top 20% of the top 20%. And they found out that the top 20 of the top 20, which is the top 4%, was making 32 times as much money as the people below them. Like, not percent. Like they took their salaries and multiplied it by 32. And they took the top 1%, which is the top 20% of the top 20% of the top 20%, which is about 1%. The top 1% of the earners was making 52 times as much money as the bottom 99%. Now, what is it that those top 1% earners were really doing? I can guarantee you when they got up in the morning, they were not fooling around. They got up in the morning and they said, what can I do that is the most productive thing I can do this day? And I'm going to focus my energy, my investment of time, I'm going to focus it in on the things that give me the highest return, and I am going to procrastinate everything else. You see, everybody procrastinates. Everybody. It's just, what do you procrastinate? Some people get up in the morning and they decide, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to procrastinate that. Other people get up in the morning and they say, oh, I'll do that. And as soon as I've got these things taken care of and crossed off my list, then I'll do this. And you want to know why they are 32, 16, 50 times less productive? If only just in terms of money, but in terms of the way their life works. Their magnitudes like 15 times better, or more powerful, or more organized, or more clear. They get more stuff done that really counts. Now, let me tell you why some of you get stuck procrastinating the wrong way. Because there is a right way to procrastinate, and there is a wrong way. Most of us prepare our to-do list. How many of you got the to-do list you work on every day? I'm going to see, raise your hands on it. You got your to-do list. Okay, and how do you write it up? Okay, start in the morning, and you ask yourself the question, what do I got to do today? The wrong question, but hey, you write it down. Okay, and you ask your brain the question, what do I got to do today? And your brain has been trained over many, many years of being trained like a rat in a maze to give you the things to write on your to-do list. You see, if you want to train somebody, you reward them. So how do you reward yourself for asking yourself that question every day? Well, what do I got to do today? The more things you can write on that to-do list, the more you're rewarding yourself, right? So I want to have lots of things on my to-do list, because if I cross those things off, what happens? I have an endorphic response. My brain cells go, yee-hoo! And you just cross it off, and it's almost orgasmic. In fact, some of you, at the end of your day, if you've done something and forgot to write it down, you'll go back at the end of the day and write it on your list so you can cross it off. Isn't that right? You will, won't you? So at the end of the day, the way your day counts is if you've got lots of stuff crossed off. Okay? I'm going to try to tell you here that it's irrelevant how much stuff you cross off. That is, throw it out the window. That's the way poor people think. The way wealthy people and the way most successful people on the planet think is that what are the 2 or 3 tasks that I can start today that may not get done for weeks? They might have to remain on that list, that I can focus my energies on until they finally get done, and that really pushes me forward. But ineffective people have been trained, like they train a rat, to want to cross stuff off. What you're really crossing off are the fun, fast, frivolous things that in the context of life are totally irrelevant. Most of us don't have on our to-do list, love my family, you know. That isn't on your list. That's the most important thing that counts. It's not on your list, is it? We're almost always writing things on our list that really don't count. And therefore, when you do your to-do list, you have to ask that question in a very serious way. What do I got to get done today? What is critical? What is going to push my life forward today? It's going to make my life really count today. And only reserve that space at the top of your page here for the 20% of those activities. Therefore, when you have your brain pop into with a question like, you got to get the milk. Where am I going to put that on my list? I'm going to put it down here in the bottom. It doesn't mean I shouldn't do it, and it doesn't mean it's not important. It means in the context of the long-term picture, it's not that critical. And therefore, I'm going to put it in what I say the bottom 80%. The top 20 are reserved for the things that are probably going to stay on that list for a while, that I'm probably not going to cross off, but I have to work on every day. Now, when do I do these things that really, in the context of life, have to get done, but really don't mean that much to the long-term picture of it? I mean, I still have to do certain things every day. And my life is made up of shaving, for instance. I got to shave. You know, I got to do that. And I've got to take my breakfast, you know. And that's really not going to push me that forward in life. So when do I do those things? Well, how many of you know there are times in your day when you are productive and times when you are less productive? Anybody have times like that? How many of you are the most productive in the morning before noon? See, raise your hands on that. How many of you are the most productive in the afternoon till about 6 p.m.? How many of you are the most productive from 6 p.m. till about midnight? Okay, how many of you are the least productive in the morning till about noon? How many of you are the least productive? Some of you raise your hands on both of those. How many of you are the least productive from noon till about 6 p.m.? How many of you are the least productive from 6 p.m. till about midnight? Okay, all of us know when I have our high energy times and low energy times. Therefore, I'm going to ask you to only do during your high energy times those 20% activities that require your full attention, your full energy. This is not the time when you open the mail. I can open the mail when I'm brain dead. I can open the mail during the time of the day when I've just got nothing left. I can do that. That's easy to do. Oh yeah, I can do that. I don't want to do that when I peak energy times. For instance, if you're writing a book, you know, during 4 o'clock in the morning and 7 o'clock in the morning when there's nobody up, that's when you want to be focusing. If that's the way your life is works, that's the way it works for me. That's not the time when I go make a milkshake. That's not the time when I want to watch the news. That's not the time when I want to open the mail. That's the time when I want to sit at my computer, when I want no interruptions whatsoever, want to focus my 100% attention on seeing how many words can I get on that page today. Because every page I write on a page of paper is worth $20 to me. That's how much I make for every dollar I write. Every and, the, it, whatever is $20. And so during that time when I'm writing my words, do I want to have somebody divert me from my $20? Are you worth $20 a minute or $20 a word to me? You know, no, good. Then don't bother me. I'm writing words here. I'll talk about how to do that when I call infopreneuring. Because if you're an infopreneur, you make money by informational words, right? So you have to plan your day, not to say there are some things that are worthless. They're not. You know, we all have to get the laundry done. We all have to get the tickets to the play. We all have to go pick up the kids from school. Those things are critical and very vital. We just need to plan those things during our most productive moments in life if we can. And to delegate everything else. Okay, does that make sense? So our planner here, our day is divided into asking yourself that question. What are the most productive things? What are the least productive things? Writing them on that list and only cross them off during our most productive times. Now, as soon as I finish with Monday, then I'll flip and fold this to Tuesday, and I'll fold it to Wednesday, Thursday, etc. On my daily sheet, I have a place to jog my memory every single day on things that are critical to me. Now, you'll notice here at the top, in kind of subliminal form, there's a tiny little blue print in there that spells a word. What does the word spell? Spells the word power. And you know there's some numbers next to it. A 3, a 2, 2, 2, and a 1. Next to the word power, there's a number 3. I'm going to say to you that this is probably the most productive time in your day when you plan your day out. That's the 15 minutes to 30 minutes that you spend every day to plan either the next day or plan the day itself. How many of you do your planning the night before? How many of you do the planning the day of? How many of you just don't plan at all? When you get up in the morning, you should have you should be ready to hit the ground running. I like to do my planning the night before, but I don't do it all the time. But it's nice. Whenever I don't do it, then I have to plan that morning, and that gets me involved in planning time, and it kind of slows me down. I like to have my brain processing that stuff all night long. So when I wake up in the morning, because I've taken my Proflavanol the night before, when I wake up in the morning, you know, I'm ready to hit the ground running. I just have to look at my list and see what's critical for me to get started on, and I can get started on it without having to spend more time fooling around. So I'm going to give myself 3 points for that day if I've done my power hour. Now, it doesn't have to be an hour, but it has to be done, planned. The more you plan, the cheaper your life is going to get. The more you plan, the more successful your life is going to be, if you've got that extra attitude of action. The next thing down there is the O, which stands for others. And so I'm going to plan, and the first thing I want to plan to do is to take care of other people. Not only my financial aspects, but in all aspects of my life. Does that make sense? So, what we have here is a system for us to organize, if I can find my system. I lost my system. Oh, here it is. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So here's my day where I organize my 80/20s. Here's my months where I organize my 90 days in advance. Here's my days where I control my money. There's 2 other pieces that go to our system. What are they? Okay, I got my journal where I write down my important activities. And there is a journal in there. And in addition, there is a phone book in there. So, my journal... This is where I keep my meetings, my notes for my meetings. It's amazing how much information you can put on one little piece of paper. If you carry that with you, if you're running a quote that you really like, or you're doing a business meeting and you need to take a record of it, take your journal, stick it inside your planner, and now I've got 4 pieces of paper in there. Final piece of paper would be my phone book. So dig out your phone book, fold it up. There are over 300 places in here alphabetized for you to write the numbers and the names of the people closest to you. I still use this to this very day. All of my database is located on this little piece of paper. I can photocopy this, boom, boom, on one piece of paper. I can keep a record of it. And if I add new names on here, it's really easy to add them. This is my phone book. This is all you really need. You don't need to carry out one of those long, big address books all the time. It's just one little simple piece of paper. Stick that inside one of the pouches. You're not going to pull that one out very often, so there are 2 things I like to keep on the outside. I like to keep my daily activities on the outside, my